Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Edge Live webinar, a monthly webinar where we discuss business and business-related matters. It's great to have everyone here. We have about 19 participants, and we're expecting more as we progress with today's program. So before we do that, I have to introduce myself. My name is Abiola Awujobi, and I'm communication strategist at Torilo, Nigeria. Torilo, Nigeria is a tech company based in the UK with a presence in Nigeria. And this webinar is brought to you by BizEdge. So BizEdge was launched by Torilo last year, and it's a business management suite. We'll be getting more information about BizEdge later as we progress in our discussion. Today's topic is funding secrets for startups and small businesses. But before we start proper, we just want to give little housekeeping rules. So if you have questions or comments during the presentation, please feel free to use the comment box, and I assure you that all your questions will be asked as we have time allotted for questions after the presenter has finished presenting. And also try to keep your mobile devices as quiet as possible. So if you want to say something, you can also use the raise hand button, and we also allow you to speak. So without further ado, we'll go to introducing our guest for today. So our guest has over 11 years of experience in the public and private sector and has provided technical and business support strategies to businesses at different levels across the states. She has led the Msme unit at the Ondo State Office of Innovation and Partnership before joining the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund as the head of business support, responsible for providing the requisite advisory services for businesses to succeed and scale. She has a degree in political science from the Florida Memorial University, Miami, USA, and a master's degree in public administration from the Robert Gordon University, Aberdeen, Scotland. She's a mother of 2 lovely children and loves to spend time with her family. So without further ado, we present to you Taiwo Olaniyan. Taiwo Olaniyan, it's good to have you here. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Abiola. Thank you for the introduction.
Yeah, you're welcome. LSTF is 5 years, something that started as the past governor, Akinwumi Ambode's project 2016, and now it's 5 years, just like yesterday. How do you feel about that?
It shows growth, and it shows, it shows growth, and this is what every business should aspire for. Businesses should ensure that they have the right structures and systems in place so that they can outlive the founder and continue running even when the CEO or the COO dies or even retires and moves on into something else. The business continues to achieve the objective. So yes, it shows growth for us, and it's a great challenge for many more years to come in terms of what we have to achieve.
Great. You have your employment summit coming up in the month of March, and I will appreciate if you just give us a bit of what's going to be happening next month before you go into your presentation proper.
Oh boy. Okay. Lagos State Employment Trust Fund would be hosting. It's not solely by Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, but there's going to be a Lagos Employment Summit happening. It's a 2-day event that would be happening on the 3rd and 4th of March. And I want to implore everyone who is either an employer or an employee to take advantage of this knowledge sharing session. We have over 70 speakers. It's an hybrid event, so even if you don't have access to join physically, you can join us via the Zoom platform. It's going to be a power-filled event because you'll be learning from first-hand experts in the industry. They'll be taking you on different sessions, panel sessions, breakout sessions on topics as it relates to just curbing unemployment in Nigeria, because that is one of our core mandates at Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. So yes, it's going to be a great event, and I would implore you to register and welcome on board to come and learn and move your career to another level.
Thank you very much. So today you'll be sharing secrets with us on how startups and small businesses can fund their dreams. So you have the floor. You'll be making a presentation, and after that, we'll be taking questions.
Okay, do I have access to share my screen?
Yes, of course. Your co-host, so you can share your screen.
Okay. Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, good afternoon again, everyone. Thank you for joining the session. Thank you to the host. Is it BizEdge or Torino now? But thank you for inviting me to talk on this particular topic. Funding is a topic everyone is interested in. Businesses want to know where the funding is so that they can tap into the opportunity. And it's a great privilege to be here to speak on this topic. Starting with the title of this session, it says business success. If you can hear me, please, I want this session to be as interactive as possible. If you can hear me, please just put in a waiver in the chat box or something. Let's know that you're participating. I want it to be very engaging. Okay. Okay. Yes, I can hear you. Okay, I can. Oluwaseun, thank you for that confirmation. All right, so business success. What does success look like for a business? I would say it is a relative word. It's a relative word because Company A and Company B might define success from two different perspectives. Success to Company A might be having a turnover in 2021 that was probably 7 million, and then, sorry, in 2020 that was 7 million, and then 2021 a turnover of probably 10 million. That can be successful business A, right? So business B can also define business success based on profits. I made profits, I doubled my profit from the previous year. That is also business success to Company B, right? Company C might define business success as the ability to even solve problems, global problems, and taking calculated risk. That might be business success to another company. So I would say the word in itself is relative, and it's based on the core mandate, core value, goal of a particular business. So moving on to the topic, everyone is here to listen to funding secrets for startups and small businesses. Thanks again, Abiola, for the introduction. And my humble self, I'm Taiwo Olaniyan from the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. I head the business support unit, where we help businesses achieve their potential by providing various types of advisory support service for them. So I'll be starting this presentation. I know the topic mentioned for small businesses and startup, and small businesses and startup fall within an umbrella that is popularly known as micro, small, medium scale enterprises. That is what we have as MSMEs. So from even the video that was played earlier, it was mentioned that MSMEs play an important role in the economy, which is absolutely correct. They make up at least 48% of national GDP, and they also account for 95% of businesses and 84% of employment.
Yes, we are with you. Welcome back, Taiwo.
Oh, okay, great, perfect. So I was saying, even from the video that was played, it shows that MSMEs play a very important role in reviving the economy globally and also even in our context, our local context, which is Nigeria. MSMEs contribute to employment. You cannot even imagine. You think probably all these big organizations are the ones that employ the most, but it's absolutely, they still fall under the MSME bracket, or some of them might be large scale enterprises, but really the major recruiters, the major employers of labor, the major contributors to the GDP are actually micro, small, and medium scale enterprises, where even startups fall in the MSME bracket. Now there's a new categorization for startups, and some of them can fall within the nano bracket or the micro bracket. So moving on, from what I have here, MSMEs make up 48% of national GDP, account for 95% of businesses and 84% of employment. This shows that really they should not be undermined. They play an important role, and in every way we have to support them so that they can continue to be employers of labor, continue to help in terms of reducing unemployment. You know, if there is unemployment in the country, if the country is growing as it should, if the country is growing like it should, would have less crime rates, would have less insecurity, the country would be good. It's just like how we all aspire to be in Europe, be in London, America, and the likes. And that's because things are working well for them. And so if our country can also work well, you would really not find people wanting to travel out, because everything they can get there from abroad, they can also get in the country. So my mission here is to talk about the types of funding and the funding opportunities available for MSMEs. So there are different categories of funding that are available. There is grants. Of course, everyone knows that grants funds that you don't have to pay back. They're not like loans. They are money is a grant is a money that is given by an organization or a charity or a donor organization to support your mission and vision for your organization, right? Then at LSETF, we have two types of grant programs. We have the Lagos Cares program, Lagos Cares Grant Program, and that is targeted towards organizations that have been affected by COVID-19. Then we also have the MSME Recovery Grant, which was launched on October 1st. So we're still in the review process where we are still awarding grants to those that applied, those that qualified, those that applied and qualified. So that's for grants. There are loan opportunities, of course, from financial institution, from even a non-financial institution. LSETF is not a financial institution, but we do award loans. We have different types of loan programs. We have generic and non-generic. We have loan programs. The non-generics, we have partnered with certain organizations and banks to make sure that the interest rate is single digits and is quite affordable. And then we've also worked on our turnaround time and also the processes. We've ensured that the process is not too tedious that it would discourage any business owner from wanting to apply. So feel free, go on our website, check out the loan programs or that is suitable for you. Grants, I must mention, grants are in cycles. There are many organizations locally and also internationally that give grants, that award grants. And most of them, or all of them have cycles when the grant application is open, where people can apply, and then the time frame or duration where you have to wait before you get a response from them and the likes, right? Then there are so many of that. There are quite a number of platforms where you can find information on grants. There is funds for NGO. There are so many days, even in our local context, we have the ACT Foundation grants. ACT Foundation, they provide grants to NGOs and even non-NGOs alike, based on, and then for grants, for you to be eligible for grants, first and foremost, you have to do your homework, to be quite honest. You have to go research about the grant giving body. That's the organization giving the grant. You have to research on their thematic areas in terms of what is their focus. If it's an international body, they always have either a 3 or 5 year focus for a particular country. And since our country is Nigeria, they'll have thematic focus area for Nigeria. Check it out. Ensure that it aligns with what you're doing. You cannot go and apply for, you're in the loan organization and you're applying for a health grant. It doesn't correlate. So ensure that you see what their thematic areas are. If it aligns with your organization objective, then go ahead, fill in the, do the due process and fill in the application and all the information you require. Grants are not paid back, but loans, yes, loans are to be repaid back over a particular period of time. Then we also have another type of funding called venture capital funds. This is when an investor or a group of people invest in your company, but they're not just investing in your company because they love you like that. They're investing in your company because they want to have a stake in your company, and that's what you see they call private equity. So they invest in your company because they believe in your dream, they believe in organizational dream, what you hope to achieve and attain and the likes. And may I mention that organizations that get all these types of funding opportunities are entrepreneurial organizations. There's a difference between being a business owner and being an entrepreneur. A business owner is out there just for profit. That's just the honest truth. You just want to maximize profit. But an entrepreneur, on the other hand, is maximizing profit, but is also solving a social problem. All these grant-giving bodies or anyone that even wants to consider investing in your organization, they're looking out for organizations that are solving global or even local, national problems. That means you're not just looking out for yourself in terms of profit, but you want to make a difference. You want to add value to to the country you're operating in, and also to the community you're operating from. So people look out for organizations that add value, that make a difference, not just organizations that are in there just to make profit. Even investors, apart from them not knowing what to do with their money, of course they can invest their money in something else that will yield, even though it's venture capital funds is for a stake. But because they believe in your vision, they believe in your goal, they believe that you're actually solving a problem that they can that they can also resonate with, and that they can also say they're a part of solving this global challenge or global problem that your business is solving. So that is why they would want to even invest their funds in your organization. So don't forget, I said there's a difference between a business owner and an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur makes profits, but also solves problem. So there's also bootstrapping. Bootstrapping is another type of funding opportunity, and that's when you use your own money to fund your organization. Bootstrapping is, I have here, it's also known as owner financing, which is self-funding. You've saved up some money and you want to use it to start up your business. That's what bootstrapping type of funding is. Then we also have crowdfunding. I'm sure many people are aware of, like, they use crowdfunding for personal as well as organizational objective. For personal, I'm sure most of us have come in contact with people raising funds for maybe a child that has a heart defect that needs to fly to India for surgery. Then for organizations as well, organizations use crowdfunding to also raise funds. I worked at one organization last year or 2 years ago, and we actually did crowdfunding on the GoFundMe platform. We did crowdfunding because we wanted to help underserved communities. We wanted to deploy, I think, wanted to sink 11 boreholes public toilets, about 9 public toilets and 11 boreholes in a particular community, because the state of that community was really bad. People do public defecation and the likes, and it wasn't healthy because that same place that they do the public defecation, people are cooking. I know it's just a whole lot of mess, and we wanted to really help. So we did crowdfunding, and it actually does work. There are some crowdfunding platforms that are Nigerian based. Platforms like Quick Raise, Farm Crowdy. It also depends on your organization, what you want to achieve and what the fund is going to be used for. We also have international crowdfunding platforms like GoFundMe that I mentioned that my previous organization used to crowdfund sources, money for a particular project. So crowdfunding can be a type of funding for a project or a venture from a large number of people, right? Then there is business incubators and accelerators. I'm sure everyone is conversant with Y Combinator right now. We're hearing of different organizations that have raised funds, e.g. Reliance Health, Reliance HMO. If we follow news and all of that, we'll find out that Reliance HMO recently raised $40 million. I can't even calculate what the Naira equivalent is because my calculator self cannot comprehend. My phone calculator cannot calculate it in Naira because it's just it's a large sum of money. And the honest truth is these funds are there. And the reason why this kind of investors will invest in this kind of organization is because they're solving problems. They're trying to provide affordable healthcare to even a woman selling pepper. The healthcare plan is as little as, I think, 3,500 from the last I checked. It's as little as 3,500 per month. So if your health is important to you, you should be able to sacrifice at least 3,500. And then you can access any of the hospitals on their plan for free for that period of the 1 month, or if it is a 6-month subscription. So that's really what business incubators and accelerators do. They fund, they provide funding. Some don't do funding. Like we know, I'm sure people are familiar with Fit Foundation. Fit Foundation is a business incubator and accelerator organization. They don't provide funding, but they open you up and expose you to funding opportunities. They provide trainings. Some business incubator and accelerator programs provide mentorship support, hand-holding, guidance, and the likes. So it depends and it varies. We have local and international. And we also have seed funding. Seed funding is the kind of money you get from family and friends. That you get from family and friends to start your business. More like it's not much, but at least it helps you to pay your rent, pay salaries, buy some necessary equipment just to start that business and keep it going. So that is it on funding. But like I mentioned, this funding is available. It depends on how well you can sell yourself, sell your organization in the light that you are solving a problem. That is what investors, that is what financial institutions, that is what anyone wants to hear. They would buy into your dream and support you to achieve your objective. Then I'm also to speak on challenges MSMEs face. Like I mentioned, these opportunities that I listed above, they're available everywhere. It's just lack of information. When people don't know where to even source for this information, they're in the dark. They don't even know that it exists, but it does exist. There are loan opportunities, there are grant opportunities, local and international. Like I mentioned, the grant platform for international, one of them is what did I say again? Okay, fund my NGO yeah. So that's an international platform. Then we have local grants giving organizations, like I mentioned as well, like Act Foundation, Even Tony Elumelu Foundation also gives grants. We have grant givers in the health sector. We have, there's so many. It's a click away. Just go to Google funding organizations in Nigeria, or probably if you're in a particular state and you want to be more specific, in Lagos State or in Ibadan or something, and you would find this information. Lack of information is a major challenge for many MSMEs in Nigeria. Also, access to finance. MSMEs, many of them say their problem or their challenge is finance. Finance is a problem because you need money, obviously, to run your business and also to scale. So if that is not sorted, your business will struggle. You can still almost be in a startup stage for over 5 years. Startups are considered businesses that were established between 0 to 3 years. But if you don't have access to finance, your business is still on the same level as your business might be 5 years going and you're still on the same level as a startup because you've barely moved in terms of achieving much with your finances. Then access to markets. This is another major challenge. Access to market is the opportunity or the platform to
Боярышник Форте Эвала,
for those
надежный
in the
друг вашего
retail
сердца,
industry.
усиленный калием и магнием.
For those in the retail industry, opportunity to be able to showcase their goods or service to their end users. That is people that will patronize and that will patronize them. So
надежный друг вашего.
Moving your goods from point A to point Z. So many SMEs or MSMEs have this access to market challenge. Many of them don't even know that before you even launch a product, before you launch a product, you have to do market feasibility studies. You have to do your SWOT analysis. You have to do quite a lot. It's not just because, your neighbor is selling pure water and the market is booming. You too want to go and start selling pure water. Your neighbor that is selling pure water is selling in a particular location because she believes that is where people always buy pure water the most from. And also it's seasonal. So you have to understand the market. If it's a product you have, if the product is seasonal, like if it's going to sell during Christmas period, or if it's going to sell during Christmas period, or if it's going to sell faster when it's raining season or dry season, you have to understand your market well. And many MSMEs don't do that analysis before launching into the market because they just believe another organization is doing it and they're doing fine, so you launch. If you don't do that, you will experience great challenge. Then capacity building is another major challenge for MSMEs. Many MSMEs believe finance is their problem. But even when you give them the finance, if you don't have the capacity to handle that finance, you don't have the capacity to run your business properly, you mismanage that funds and you'll still be back to square one. So capacity building, there are trainings on different aspects of your business to help improve your business structure systems. And it also makes you more marketable and credible to people that even consider investing in your business. Once they know that you have, as an SME, you cannot be the CEO, CFO, IT person. You drain yourself, and that's just the honest truth. But if you have people that are in that that are knowledgeable in that particular aspect, and you build their expertise,
Sorry for.
Okay, I think I keep getting distracted.
So yes. Someone is just unnecessarily using his audio. Sorry about that. We have handled that already.
Okay, so capacity building is really very critical. As in, nobody knows it all, and knowledge is continuous. You keep learning new skills to improve. If it's even digital skills to be able to market your product or your service even better and reach a larger audience. Capacity building is critical. It's not just about the funds. Funds is good, but also knowledge in terms of how to manage the funds is also good. And that's where capacity building is. And that's where many business owners are deficient in. Then also, of course, for startup businesses, especially tech startup businesses, internet is a challenge for them because, of course, they need to build apps, they need to do this, and internet is crucial for startup businesses in the tech ecosystem. Even for those in the non-tech ecosystem who wish to use a digital tool to promote their business, internet is critical. And it can be a challenge if you don't have access to correct internet. Like now, thank God for internet. This meeting will not be holding if there was no internet. It could be a challenge, but because, well, I've been able to solve this, so it's not a challenge at this moment. But yes, internet is a challenge for many businesses, and not knowing where you can even tap into probably even free, like now at LSETF, under our Lagos Innovate program, we have workspace vouchers where we give startup businesses in the tech ecosystem. So you have a startup, that you just found, you just launched, and you need a space to work with your team members. We provide that because we have partnerships with different hubs in Lagos State. And so we'll give you a voucher to go to any of those hubs closest to you to work in there with your team members for free, so that you're not worried about buying diesel or buying internet or something, because it's already covered through the hubs already. So like access to this information, access to internet is a challenge if you don't know where you can solve this problem. Access to internet, like what happened just now. Then we also have access to conducive workspaces. Like I mentioned, at LSETF, through our workspace vouchers, you get to work in different hubs, and yeah, you have a workspace. You're not worried about so many other unnecessary things. You're focused on building that product and making it grow and scale. So also another challenge that MSMEs face is regulatory compliance, regulatory framework. You know, this one, I don't know if it can be solved, because government still overrides anything you do. So you can have a brilliant idea. Your business, you might even have investors that have plunged money to help you achieve your organizational objective. And one government policy can cripple that business and bring it crumbling down. Of course, we all know the story of all these those bike Max Okada and the likes. It was a very great initiative. It was solving problem, right? But of course, then they decided to ban bikes. They affected that. So it's a challenge. Government regulations can also be a challenge if you don't know how to work your way around it. But a few of them they were able to manipulate their way around it, because aside just making it a passenger bike kind of system, they turned it to a dispatch kind of system. So it's more about being flexible, open-minded, just seeing a problem and not seeing it as a problem, but seeing it as a way you can looking for solutions to solve that problem. You will not only make profit, but you're also making impact, and that is value, and that is what anyone and everyone wants to see or hear. So, of course, having funding is great, but of course, one has to also be careful. You can apply for all these grants and get it, and you think, I've arrived, you know. That's one of the funding pitfalls, that arrival mentality. You start spending unnecessarily before you had probably one full car in your organization, but because you just got a grant, if you we need a bus, we need 2 other cars, you know, unnecessary spending. Or you were probably working from a 2-bedroom kind of office setting, and then because you have funding, you go and get a 5-bedroom duplex. Fine, funds are there, but for how long? If you don't manage it well, the money just goes, and you're wondering how the money just went eventually. And also another funding pitfall is unrealistic budget and forecast. You start forecasting things that don't even exist. By 5 years time, this money, you know, we'll be able to do this and do this. But if we don't properly plan, if we don't look for how to multiply even that money, the money will still come and it will finish. So it's about managing the funds properly and even probably even investing a bit of it to yield more profit for your business so that you can now properly have a better forecast into the future. Then another point, funding pitfall is lack of capacity to manage funds. If you don't have that financial know-how, you mismanage the funds. And that's why even all those Y Combinator, all those investor, venture platform and the likes, before they fund your business, they want to ensure that you have a CEO, a CFO, this person, that. So there's not just one man running the whole show. That's where mismanagement comes in. If it's just one man, is the accountant, is the HR, is it this one? When things go wrong, nobody can audit him. Nobody is not accountable to anybody. Nobody wants to invest in that kind of company because obviously there'll be a lot of issues of mismanagement of funds. Then, of course, when you have that, I have arrived, I just got this big sum of money. You want to hire more people, even when you might not even need them. Or you're now going to overpromise some people that will pay you double the amount you're earning. Yes, you might afford it for a short term, but for how long before you now start looking for other sources of funding to pay that salary? So you have to, even when the money comes, you have to plan, you have to budget, you have to ensure that you can manage these funds well. Capacity building, like I mentioned, is important. Getting the right kind of people that know that technical know-how for their different roles is also critical. You can't be a Mr. Jack of all trades. You're the HR and finance person and all the likes. You need to hire good hands, but you don't need to over-hire because you have funds. You have to work within the scope of your operations and as well as the budget you have. Then, of course, when you have money, there's a temptation to want to scale. Oh, like I said, you were working from a 2-bedroom. You're now thinking, I need to go to a 5-bedroom duplex. If you're not careful, you squander that money. And that still ties into unnecessary spending. And it's not really useful. The point of investors giving you money, or even the point of you taking a loan in the first instance, is to, of course, ensure that more jobs are being created. If more jobs are not being created, you're saving jobs, you're not firing your staff. Unemployment is still is under check because you're not firing your staff to go back to the labor market. But you're even hiring if possible, or even retaining the ones you've hired by increasing their welfare packages and the like. So yes, all these funding opportunities are good. They're great. It helps you grow, it helps you to scale, but you have to spend the money wisely. For grants, yes, it's not your money you pay back like loan, but at least you're still accountable to the funding organization, or even if it's an investment venture platform now, you're still accountable to the people that invested their money in you. So you have to use that money judiciously. Else, they will not even be funding you. They will not be giving you a second type of funding. And then if one particular organization blacklists you, news travel fast. Other people will not even consider investing in you. So you have to ensure that even when you get all these opportunities, use the funds properly to achieve the organizational objective and not go to buy a car. I'm now an MDC, or I should be driving the latest car now for my status. No, it's not necessary. You got the funding for your business. So use it for the business, not for personal use. So that would be all for me for this presentation. I would be happy to take questions, comments. I think you can use the chat box, or if there's a Q&A room or something, to type in your questions. I'm available for another 10 minutes to take your questions. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you very much, Taiwo. That was phenomenal. You gave us real insight into the available kind of funding we have in the country presently. So please, let's make use of the chat box for questions. But we have some questions that has been sent in already, and we'll just start with those ones as we expect questions in the chat box. So number one is this for you, Taiwo. What are investors really looking for in the business? So someone who has a business, startup, or a small business, or a micro small business, yes. What is an investor looking for in that business?
To be honest, it's growth potential. That your business has the potential to grow and yield, of course, profits. That your business is solving a national or global problem. That means you're not just all about making profit, but you're actually solving a problem solver. Your business is solving a particular problem. Who would even believe that waste can become a major thing these days? Everyone is not talking about climate change and the likes, and then we have organizations going into recycling and the likes. So when there are problems, there are some organizations that see these problems as opportunity. Investors want to see how well you can see opportunities even when there are problems, and how well you can grow and have this forecast to even grow your business, solve more problems, have a larger audience that you can create solutions for. So that's really the major things: growth potential, as well as the ability to solve problems on a large scale. That's really what investors are looking out for.
Thank you very much, Taiwo, for that. We have a question in the chat box, and that says, from Temitope, it currently seems like only tech-based businesses are getting funded. How do businesses that are not tech-based enabled get access to funds?
Tech is like the new oil now. Even if your business is not tech-based, you can be tech-enabled. How well are you using tech to solve your problem, to reach your target market, to reach a larger target market? It's not just about being in the tech ecosystem, but how well are you using technology to solve multiple and large kind of problems with your business? That's really it. It's not just they're funding tech organizations. Yes, they are, but they're also funding non-tech organizations that have shown that their business is tech-enabled, they can reach a larger audience, and they can still achieve their business objective. So yes.
I hope that answers your question, Tim Tope. We have another interesting one here from Oluwaseun. The question is this. It says, really insightful. What should determine the funding choice or channel to use for your business?
What you are doing, what line of business are you in? Are you in the agri space? If you're in the agri space, of course, you look out for agri kind of funding, right? You go look out for agri kind of capacity building trainings to increase your knowledge in that field. So it depends on the space you're operating in. And then, of course, when you know the space you're operating and you know the space you want to expand in, then you look out for funding based on all these different funders. You look out for their thematic areas if they're funding in that particular sector. It's not just applying, I apply for to 5,000 grant bodies. If it doesn't align with their thematic area, they will decline your grant request. It has to be in line with what they are also trying to achieve, as well as what you two are trying to achieve.
Yeah, that's fantastic. True. We have another question from Morenike. Thank you so much for the session. I'm a startup business registered with CAC into textile industry. Where can we get funding?
You're a startup business registered with CAC and you're in textile. I can't say from the top of my head a particular funding organization, but I'm sure it does exist. You just have to do your research. There are organizations that do fund businesses in the textile industry. Fashion, it still falls under that. So it can be beauty, fashion. They always have these terminologies they use, but as long as you can show that you align in that sector and you're providing a solution in that sector, you will find investors. It might not be grants, it might be investors, people wanting to invest in your business to grow it and expand it.
Right, we have tech people here. Another question from Ephraim. This person is asking, what does investors look for in a tech startup before committing funds to them?
What does investors look for in a tech startup? First of all, they have to believe in your dream, what your organization wants to achieve. You yourself you have to believe in that dream. And when you believe in that dream, when they see that ginger, when they see that, oh my God, my company, we're doing this, we hope to do, or even if we're just starting, we hope to achieve this by your projections, your capacity in terms of your staffing, your team. You have capable hands that can, even when you give us this funding, we can still achieve this, not that we'll mismanage the funds. All those things are things that you will put in your pitch deck when you're pitching for funding. So you're showing your capacity. If you've done similar work before, it's good to mention that you've done this and this for this organization. Even if you're just a startup, you hope to achieve this and this by these projections. Your staff strength, your capacity, the kind of quality staff you have also shows how far the organization will go. So yes, growth potential.
That's
I think
great.
I might just be able to take one more question because I have another meeting that will be starting and I need to prepare.
Okay, so we have one question here that just came in from Ben. It's looking like very interesting one here. Can starting a business to address the challenge of unemployment be viewed under the lenses of solving a national challenge for a country like Nigeria, where the unemployment is over 30%?
You're still solving a problem, trust me. LSETF, our mandate is to curb unemployment, right? To enable job creation. It still looks like a drop of water in a bucket, but you're still achieving. Imagine if LSETF or other organizations trying to still solve this problem. What would unemployment rate be? 70%. So it might look small, but you're still making a difference. Don't give up on it.
Okay, thank you very much, Taiwo, for your extemporaneous delivery and also answering all our questions. We have questions prepared for you, but we have to let you go. And please, before you leave, if you're social, we want you to tell us your social media handles, it's LinkedIn or Instagram, and if you can drop an email where our listeners today can just push their questions to, because questions are definitely still coming. So you can just push these questions to and get them answered.
I'm dropping my email address. My social handles, I'm terrible with that. I barely check it, but you can send me a message on LinkedIn. I might not check it for like 2-3 months. So if it's something urgent or something you really need my attention, I would drop my email address. Feel free to send me a message, ask your questions, put in your comments, and I'll be happy to shed more light into whatever you need.
Great. We appreciate that. So you can just put that in the chat box so that all can see and copy that down. So thank you everyone for joining in on this month's edition of the webinar. The topic was funding secret for startups and small businesses, and Taiwo really did justice to that. So we saw different funding sources and when it's right, and the pitfalls to avoid when we go about sourcing for funding or when we acquire these funds. Thank you very much, Taiwo. We really appreciate the time you spent.
Thank you for having me
here. And okay, questions are like, can we get access to the slide?
So sure, I can send it to you guys and you can have a way of disseminating it to beneficiaries. It's fine.
Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate that. So we have the slides and we share it with everyone who attended here. Thank you very much, Taiwo. So we just want to pay attention to our product manager who will be telling us just a brief about BizEdge, what this wonderful...
Apologies, but I'll need to drop off the call now. I'm sorry,
you can,
but
yes,
you can,
of
yes.
course, you can drop.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Taiwo. So we want to see just a brief demonstration of what BizEdge does, the app, and so Darren.
So basically, building the application, we had certain things in mind, which Kelechi also mentioned during our presentation. But one of them was basically about data, gathering data, so we and automating business tasks. So basically on here we have the people management software, which gives you a full, on the dashboard gives you a full presentation of your overall operations on the HR level. You can see people who are out of the organization on leave or remote work, for you to also have visibility on your remote workforce depending on your staff strength. For organizations with over 100 staffs and maybe a couple are on remote work or everybody, which is something that would be nice. And you can see who are celebrations, work anniversary, birthdays, which we believe these gestures are nice when they are prompted. Everybody within the organization are prompted about birthdays so that they can give shout outs to one another. And basically, we also have people, list of people within the organization. At this part, you can see a list of everybody you have within the organization, have their organizations, the employees' data at a full glance, personal information, next of kin information, and definitely job information alongside banking information. You can view their time of history, benefits, training, assets that you have assigned to this particular employee. Basically, so that you can do well with dropping Excel spreadsheets, and then you just have your data organized in one place, including documents that you have passed on to the employee over the course of employment. And also, you can manage time off within the organization using the BizEdge people management app, where employees can request for time off on their own portal. HRs just get to approve or decline the request based on the current situation of things at the moment, and then you can view people who are going on leave. I believe this will be very helpful to managers to manage their the work structure within a period of time, so that probably certain people shouldn't go on leave because maybe someone else is on leave and stuff like that. So you plan your task structure and all. Then you can see out of work those who are out of the organization, and then definitely you can create your own time off policy, and that's the organization offers. So basically, this time off policy is where what the employees will be applying to. So you have the time off title, the numbers of days that this time off offers within the year. If it's a paid time off, unpaid, and the policy basically be starting immediately, and then definitely the time off can roll over. And all these are based on, they are flexible, so it fits every organization standards. And also, one thing that I think Lecho was mentioning, which was nice, is also benefits. Benefits that organizations offer to their employees, whether educational benefits, whether HMOs or pension and stuff like that. You can also create them on here, and your employees can have clear visibility on not just their role, on their compensation, but also the benefits and time off available to them, and even training for, you can set up training for staff development, and then whilst adding employees, you can onboard the employees, and to onboard the employees, basically, you can just set up the resumption date of the employee, set up the time of resumption, and then which branch the employee will be reporting to, and then which person within the organization should be contacted once the employee gets to the office. Then you can add the tasks for different people within the organization, whether to prepare laptop, arrange decks and stuff like that. And then you can upload documents, which is probably the company policy and contract of employment and sort of, which once you save and send, the employee will get all this information, first information in their mail, and the tax and documents will be sent to their MyEdge portal, where they will register to the MyEdge account, see their information, and then the documents, which helps them get started within in the organization. So I believe that adds to the feel and the reputation of the organization. For most employees, you get this vibe of, wow, this is quite nice and stuff like that. And basically, we have this launch that, which is the first version of what we have been building. But subsequently, we are also working to improve on our own what we've done already, which will be adding the report, which will give HR's data to view and munch on, basically the turnover reports, and where they can understand the average length of service for every employee that's come and gone, and how many employees leave and stuff like that, which will give them pure visibility on their retention of staff. Also, they will have their employee counts and gender distribution for gender equality, where they can measure that quickly, and age distribution amongst a few others. We're also working at the moment on performance management application for feedbacks and reviewing organization goals or personal goals for employees, and also the recruits part of the app where where HRs can hire staffs and give them that presence in there. But besides the HR app, we also have the payroll application for running payroll seamlessly without using basically without using spreadsheets to give payroll officers the ease of doing this process, and then asset management fleets, and amongst a few other things that we've been working on. Our goal basically is to help HRs automate tasks and gather strategic insights, and become more data-led, and improve their employees' development, as well as give employees role clarity, have more visibility about the organization's policy, better understand their own performance, where they can improve on it, and increase the engagement between HRs and the employees, and provide a better structured development for these employees, and opportunity for feedbacks. I believe this app as a whole will help them coordinate the team effectively, basically. So this is the Bizedgeapp. It would be nice for HRs on here to jump on the app, sign up using the URL up here, bizedgeapp.com, and register to get a feel of what the app looks like on the inside, and then see for yourself how amazing the app is.